Hello everyone, and welcome to video number 2, in which I'm going to give you a general overview of the library homepage. So if this isn't your first, rodeo, you can feel free to skip this one. But if you are kind of new, or maybe need a refresher, or aren't sure what you're, really doing on this web page, stick around and I will show you some things. Okay? So one of the reasons why this video is necessary is because these tabs don't always make sense, and they are, I wouldn't say misleading, but maybe, no, they are misleading. Yeah, okay, we'll just say that. All right. So this all search makes you believe that it's searching through every single thing that we have ever, right? But of course that's not actually true. We have access to over 200 databases, but only the biggest 100 are included in this all search. In addition, it's not very good at figuring out books and media, so I tend to stay away completely from the all search just because it sort of muddles things up, and if you only want articles, then you have to sort out everything that's not articles anyway, and you might as well have just used this tab, right? So let's do an example. Over in Books and Media, I'm going to search for the craft of scientific communication. Something I already looked up ahead of time. So what you're going to see here is what we call in the library land a bento box display, because it's separated out into nice little categories here. And one of the things you can do is request a book from Prospector, which is one of our consortia that we are a part of. So this would be pretty easy for you to do. You just want to make sure that your account settings are set to a home library where you can pick it up easily instead of having to come all the way out here. So if you'll see here in this first box, it'll say from the catalog. It also does include journals and articles, so you can pop into here if you see something that catches your eye as well. But if I go into this record, as we call it, right here, the ebook, I'm going to be able to see that I can access this thing online right away. And the nice thing is that you can copy this link as well and return to it. So this is a persistent link, and it'll be, there the next time you check for it. So the other thing I want you to see is the subjects listed here. Sometimes these will help you find other books that are related. It can be pretty hit or miss because these are almost always user generated. So whoever put this record in, the librarian or the cataloger at the time, is the one who picked these. And so you can see these are kind of pretty specific. So if we click into Science Language Handbooks Manuals, that's the only one that's listed that way. And that's not to say that there aren't others that should be categorized that way, but it is to say that that's the only one that, made it to that level of detail. So you should be able to access this ebook from anywhere, anytime, any place, but it is important that you go through this link so that it will ask you to verify your Western credentials, because if you were to just copy this eBook Central link, it probably won't know who you are. It'll start asking you to do a login, but then it won't recognize you because it doesn't know you're working through Western, and so on. So it's always best to use the library to go through there. All right, let's take the craft of scientific communication back over to our homepage and look for it in our all search. And after you wait a minute, you're going to see, hey, there's tons of, different news articles, periodicals, reviews of this. But you can see right away that if it's a periodical, if it's 2 pages, obviously that's not the book, right? If you see that this is 1 page, this is another review, right? So one thing you can try is checking the catalog box here on the left side. And, sometimes it'll have it. In this case, it only recognizes the physical location, okay, not the ebook. So if you were to only look through the all search tab here, you wouldn't know that we had an ebook at all. And you might be like, well, it's physical and I can't get to it, so, forget it, right? We're going to try something else. So just because it isn't in the all search does not mean that we don't have access to it, okay? So the other thing to know about both the All Search and this Article tab search is that it goes through EBSCOhost. And what that means is that this link up here is not persistent. It will not be active 10 to 15 minutes from right now. So on the right side of every record, you'll see different ways that you can save this, and you can permalink it. So this is the one that will bring you back to this page reliably, but you can also cite it, and obviously this is pretty hit or miss. It all depends on what it thinks the correct forms are. Usually it's very bad at APA and figuring out capitals. This one looks, all right, but yeah. Again, not the best, but usually it'll include a link. So then you can have the title, the link, all of that information saved in an easy format for you to access again later. So, all right. That is the All tab versus Books and Media. Articles is going to look like All except only articles. So one of the more important things that we're going to look at in the next video is going to be databases. But people get a little bit confused by this because they think that whatever you type in here is going to search through all of our available databases, but of course that's not true. This only looks for literally the title of the database or whatever's in the description. So if you don't, spell it correctly or have it exactly, it's not going to find it. So don't put your, general search terms in here. There's also an A to Z list. So if you already know that you want, the Public Library of Science, you can go right down to it and, click into that. So journal titles we're going to talk about later, but it is a very, very helpful tool that people don't tend to use a lot. So the only other things I would say that, would really affect you all is if you go over instruction and down to graduate and online students, there's just some helpful tips about accessing things and figuring out how to get information, especially about your account and where your items would be sent to if you were to interlibrary loan anything. We'll get into that in the next videos, but you shouldn't interlibrary loan anything until you ask me. And the way you could do that is if you go over to About, Contact Us. Great segue. You scroll down a little bit, and here's all my information, right? So you can call my office phone, but usually I'm on the go somewhere, teaching and running around. So here's my email, which I'll respond to pretty much any time of day or night. So yeah, that's a little overview. Obviously, the best way to get to know anything like this is to go and explore and take a little bit of time to get familiar with it. But those are the key points that aren't really obvious. So yeah, that's it for video 2. I'll see you in video 3.